Hello viewers, welcome to my YouTube channel Curiosity Box, and in this video I am reviewing Falcon and the Winter Soldier Series 1 Episode 4. And the main things I felt about this episode are that it talks about how people hide behind symbols and America's brainwashed into worshipping the flag and worshipping something that blatantly can kill them at any point. Because I think John Walker's Captain America is Steve Rogers' Captain America was the hopelessly optimistic version, and John Walker's Captain America is literally the perfect representation of what America is to the world. So, and it's all about, the episode is all about symbols and how people hide behind symbols to do awful actions. And it reminds me of, everybody pledging allegiance to the flag in America, and then the government can do what the fuck they want and police kill people, and people are brainwashed into just worshipping the flag. And I hate that even when they have a democratic president in, he still goes and says in his speeches how America is the best in the world, and then a few days into his presidency goes and bombs somewhere. I was like, it's like, oh, America's in such a bubble, they're so brainwashed, and this episode perfectly showed that. And it also shows that people use symbols to justify their actions, and it reminds me of Autism Speaks and using the puzzle piece, and how the American cops have got, they've got one section of the American cops in one of the states, they've got a badge and it's just tons of puzzle pieces in all different colours, and they say, look, we support autistic people, and they just put a badge up with puzzle pieces. Meanwhile, most of the cops in America still kill autistic people, and Autism Speaks has been vicariously responsible for lots of autistic people's deaths. But and William Shatner, it's like, oh, but look, the can see no more than the symbol, the symbolicness. It's all about symbols. I'm having quite a difficult time with my talking today, so we'll see how I get on with this video. I'm kind of embarrassed that I bought a load of Captain America. I bought a load of merch for Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and it's got the Captain America shield on, so I'm annoyed now, but I'll probably still wear it and just have it as Steve Rogers. It's annoying because this series just, it shows how people tend to follow symbology and symbols and iconography and don't look at the individual, and they don't focus in on the details, they just follow a symbol. And that's what this episode said to me. So we start with Wakanda, and it's at night time 6 years ago, and Bucky's in Wakanda with one of the Dora Milaje, I think this is Io, and she's trying his activation code to see if he is triggered into becoming the Winter Soldier. And through the words he sees flashbacks of his passed as the Winter Soldier, and he's crying, and he says it's not going to work, and then he's trying his best to resist, and then he realizes he hasn't been triggered, and Ayo says, "You're free," and Bucky's just in tears, and I just wanted to hug him so much. So in the present day, that's why Ayo has come to see him to ask how could he free Zemo, and Bucky says in Wakandan that he is a means to an end, and Ayo gives him 8 hours, White Wolf, before the Wakanda comes for Zemo. Meanwhile, Zemo has had a lovely bubble bath and is walking around in his dressing gown with a drink. And Sam is angry at Zemo for just straight up shooting Nagel. So Bucky reads a news report on his phone that Carly blew up a GRC building and has a list of demands and is threatening to blow up more GRC buildings if those demands aren't met. And Zemo says Carly is a supremacist, but Sam argues that Carly is just a kid and can be helped, and Zemo says the desire to become a superhuman cannot be separated from supremacist ideals, and that Carly will escalate. Bucky says the serum didn't corrupt Steve, and Zemo says touche, but there has never been another Steve Rogers, has there? So Bucky is annoyed and wants to give Zemo to the Wakandans straight away, despite the fact that Zemo is kind of on his side with that point. Sam is talking about how Mama Donya is a mother figure to Carly, and he talks about how his aunt died when he was a kid and she was his TT. So there's a joke, there's a bit of a joke with Bucky saying you're TT, and they're all that. It's a bit of a wordplay joke. And Sam talks about how the entire neighbourhood held a ceremony for her, and that Sam thinks Carly might be doing the same thing for Mama Donya. And Zemo says Sam's TT would be proud of him, and then he throws Sam some Turkish Delight sweets. It's like, I am reserving judgment on Zemo, but it is getting into the good books. But I wonder what he's up to. And then we go to the camp, and the kids are looking at the phone where there's a report about the GRC building, and that one of the dead was a father of 2 due to the job. So because of this, the GRC have begun drafting legislation known as the Patch Act, which would seek to restore border regulations and fast-track the return to normalcy. And Carly's there, and then Zemo and the boys get to the camp building, and Zemo says, "Well, this is a big government building. I used to come here for dinners and parties." So Sam's going to look upstairs, and Bucky and Zemo are staying outside. And then Sam walks through the building asking about Donya, and all the people are walking away from him and shutting doors in front of him. So then Sam enters one of the rooms, which is a classroom, and asks the teacher guy about Donya, and he calls her a refugee. And the teacher replies saying they're not refugees, as they have nothing to seek refuge from. They're internationally displaced persons, and we don't trust outsiders. The GRC promised to send more teachers and supplies, but nothing's happened for 6 months. And the teacher says he knows who Falcon is, but he can't trust him. And then Zemo's got a different tactic. Is down with the kids and he's singing Bow Wow Black Sheep, and he offers them all some Turkish delight sweets, and he pretends to be Donya's friend, and the kid whispers to him where Donya's funeral is going to be, and then Zemo points to Sam and Bucky and tells the kids don't trust them two guys. So with gently, softly tactics, Zemo has got the information. Then Sam and Bucky didn't get any information, and then for 5 years the world came together to help rebuild, and all people were welcomed, but then the Blitz came back and everything went right back to the way it was. Sam still believes that Carly is good at heart, but Bucky doesn't believe Carly's means justify her actions. Then Zemo tells them he's got the information. Donya's funeral is this afternoon. Bucky throws something and threatens Zemo, and Sam tells him, don't engage. Like Bucky, stop. Zemo's got what you wanted. He's got that information. And then he mentions that don't engage because they just do that stupid head talk thing, and Zemo's like this, and he goes, as soon as he hears that, he goes, that was quite funny. And Zemo offers cherry blossom tea, and it makes it seem like Zemo should make a little book of calm. Zemo's little book of zen. That'd be cute and Zach. So Sam's calling Sharon to get a satellite camera focused on the camp. In Madripoor, the power broker is furious about the serum being taken and Nagel being shot. So Carly's at this graveyard, and they're at the grave where there's a secret panel, and that's where they're keeping the super serum vials. And the guy with her, he tells her he used to be a Captain America fan, and that he used to really worship Captain America, and he didn't know there could be another Captain America until he met Carly. And he said, the world's more complicated now. Today's heroes don't have the luxury of keeping their hands clean. Carly says that shield is a monument to a bygone era, a reminder of all the people history just left out. If anything, that shield should be destroyed. That's how we make change. But first we pay our respects to Mama Donya. And I can agree that, yeah, destroy the shield, just stop all this Captain America stuff, because it's not just about America. The world, the planet has never been just about America. I hate America's supremacy, ideas of supremacy, because they think they're the best country. We are the best country. We are great. Even the nice presidents still spout that crap. So yeah. Then Carly puts the super serum, which is in a bum bed, and she straps it to her. Then Newcap and Hoskins have found Bucky and Sam, and Zemo is like, I know where Carly is. So they plan to go to the memorial, and Newcap wants to be a dick, and he wants to go in strong and use violence and take her down. Typical America. And then, but Sam wants to talk to Carly alone, and Newcap is being an absolute douchebag and refusing to talk and reason with people. And Sam used to counsel kids dealing with trauma. This is right in his wheelhouse. And obviously Newcap thinks it's a bad idea because he thinks he's the best at everything. And Hoskins tells him that talking her down is a better idea. Then they get to the the memorial place, and Simo pays the girl that he gave some Turkish delight to earlier some money, and she shows them the way in. Then UCAT handcuffs Simo and gives Sam, you've got 10 minutes before I come in being a douchebag. They're at the funeral for Donya, and Carly's giving a speech at how Mama Donya looked after them. Then Sam's up on a balcony, she spots him. Then Carly speaks about how the struggle brings people together, for we are, after all, simply one world and one people, so live accordingly. Then everyone lays flowers and leaves the room. Outside, New Cat is just getting more and more impatient and being a douchebag. And Carly's speaking to Sam, and Carly says they started a war as soon as they kicked them out of their new homes and onto the streets. Millions of people around the world need me. And Sam is saying he understands that. And Carly's saying, what if I'm making the world a better place? And Sam says, you're not making it a better place if you're killing people, it's just different. And Carly says, you're either brilliant or just hopelessly optimistic. And Sam says, well, can't I be a little bit of both? And Carly says, no. So outside, meanwhile, New Cap is being more and more of a dick. And he's saying, no, this is a bad idea. And Bucky tells him to calm down. And New Cap says, don't patronise me. And I wrote, New Day JW Cap is such a twat. Because I got very angry during this episode. Then Bucky says about Sam, he knows what he's doing, and New Cap tries to start storming in, and Bucky pushes him back. And New Cap says Bucky's partner needs backup in there, and that he'll have Sam's blood in his hands. And Sam is saying that Simo said, Sam is telling Carly that Simo said that Carly is a supremacist, and Carly thinks, well, that's ridiculous. The big corporations are the supremacists. And Sam says, so you got more serum, right? Are you going to increase your army? You're killing innocent people. And Carly says, they're not innocent. They're roadblocks in my journey, and I'd kill them again if I had to. And then Carly is like, oh no, you tricked me into sounding like a supremacist. And to be honest, she is, because I like it to see her go around to the children of the people she's killed and tell them, oh, I'm not a supremacist, I'm doing it for the world. Like, then Carly says, the people I'm fighting are trying to take your home, Sam. Were you here instead of stopping them? And Sam says, you know my sister's waiting for that exact same answer. And he says, I'm not your enemy, I agree with your fight, I just can't get with the way you're fighting it. I'm sure she won't either, pointing at Donya. Then Walker comes storming in. He says, Carly Morgenthau, you're under arrest. And now Carly thinks that Sam was just sent in as a trap to keep her there, so John Walker Cap could come and arrest her. Then Carly calls him a Nazi, yes, well done, and punches the shield, yes, well done, I agree with that action. Then Bucky's pushing away Hoskins and then chases after Carly, but Carly runs away through this boiler room, but Zemo's there and he starts shooting at her, and the serums fall all over the floor. Then Zemo picks up a serum, but then he smashes them all because he thinks he's going to take all this serum from him, but then he smashes them all, which is a good action. So Zemo's doing all the good actions in this so far. And so John Walker Cap knocks out Zemo with a shield, except that Zemo's actually getting the job done properly. And I wrote of it, I just can't with JW Cap. Such a dick. In capital letters. So JW Cap finds a serum that's rolled away somewhere and is left over, and he finds it intact and he pockets it. Then Carly is hiding her bullet wound, and Carly lived with people she would have been taught to hate if she'd lived somewhere else. And Carly thought they'd been chosen. The power broker is calling them, demanding the serum back or they will kill Carly. Carly knows how they deal with Sam, so her plan is to separate the group, separate Bucky and Sam from Cap, and then kill Captain America. It's kind of hard to disagree with that plan. And then Sam is typing to Sharon, and then we're back at Seamu's hideout, and he's on a couch with cold flannel on his head, and it looks like a whiskey. I love that bit. I love that scene. And he talks about whether Sam would have had the serum if he'd been offered it. And he asks Sam if he had been offered the serum, would he have taken it? And Sam says no. And Seamu says, no hesitation, that's impressive. And Seamu believes Carly cannot be saved from her actions, and that she and her friends can't be allowed to be a god among the regular people, and says super soldiers cannot be allowed to exist. And Sam gives the point, isn't that how gods talk? And if that's how you feel, what about Bucky? And Seamu's that blood isn't always the solution. And then I had a brackety point. I thought Seamu might be making another code to control Bucky using the words Turkish delight and cherry blossom, but I think that's me going off on a tangent. So Bucky walks in and says, something's not right about Walker. I know we're crazy when I see one, because I am crazy. And Sam says, can't argue with that. And Bucky says, shouldn't have given him the shield. And Sam says, I didn't give him the shield. And Bucky says, well, Steve definitely didn't. Then John Walker Cap storms his way in with Hoskins, and JW Cap is ordering them to hand over Seamu to him, and JW is threatening Sam and puts down the shield. Then a spear thunders into the wall next to Cap's head, and it's Io and the Dora Milaje appear. And the 8 hours are up to hand Seamu over. Then John Walker Cap, he introduces himself, says, well, let's point your sticks down, we can talk this through, huh? And like, now he wants to talk things through, dick. And Sam says, hey, John, take it easy. You might want to fight Bucky before you tangle with Dora Milaje. And JW says, Dora Milaje don't have jurisdiction here. And Io says, the Dora Milaje have jurisdiction wherever the Dora Milaje find themselves to be. And JW is, look, I think we got on the wrong foot. And then he gets a beating from the Dora Milaje. But they both take their eye off the ball, and Dora Milaje and JW Cap, and Seamu manages to get away. Is that at first that, and then Sam and Bucky are watching the fire, so we should do something, and Bucky says, looking good, John. And then Bucky's trying to stop the fire, and he's wrestling down Io, but Shuri has put something on his arm that means the Dora Milaje can do a squizzle and take his bionic arm off. And he's like, what? And then meanwhile, Zemo has gone down the drain. He slipped away and he's gone down the drain in the bathroom. The Dora Milaje warrior tries to take the shield, but Io tells it, leave it. Zemo's escaped now. So Bucky puts his arm back on, and JW Cat is all toxic masculinity saying, we're even super soldiers. And about Zemo, Sam and Bucky look at the drain where Zemo's escaped, and he says, I can't believe he pulled an El Chapo. And Bucky says, I can. I forgot to look up who El Chapo is. I think, is that something to do with Cuba or something? I'm not sure. I don't know. The JW cutscene, and JW and Hoskins are out of uniform chatting, and somebody comes up for his John Wilkes autograph, and Hoskins isn't asked for his autograph, and he's disappointed. He'd even designed his own symbol. See, that's another thing about symbols. And JW asks Hoskins, if you were offered the super serum, would you take it? And Hoskins says, how's, yeah. And power just makes a person more of themselves, right? And then Hoskins mentions John Walker's 3 Medals of Honor. You've got 3 Medals of Honor. And like, that's another thing hiding behind symbols as well. And JW says, 3 badges of excellence to make sure I never forget the worst day of my life. We both know that the things we had to do in Afghanistan to be awarded these medals felt a long way from being right. And being cat is the first time I had the chance to do something that actually feels right. So it's just gone from doing whatever America wants to doing whatever America wants. It's like, there's no difference there. There's no difference. It's just not in camouflage anymore. It's in it's just like, it's stealth America stomping on everybody to blatant America stomping on everybody. So it's not doing anything different. And Hoskins says, imagine how many lives we could have saved that day if we had that serum. And like, well, you could have saved lives by not being in the army. And Sarah is being called by Carly Morgenthau, and Carly, she really annoyed me going after Sarah. Like, how dare she? She went after Sarah and the kids. So she rings up Sarah because she thinks Sam's working with the new Cap. And Sarah says, I didn't choose him. And she says, my will doesn't matter to America, so why should I care about its mascot? And Carly's, I like you, Sarah. You remind me of me. And Sarah says, Carly, if you believe one thing, believe this. My brother is not working for that man. And Carly says, I need to meet with Sam alone. I'm sending the coordinates to pass along. So she could have stopped there, but no, she has to go further. And Carly says she needs to know that Sam's serious, that he won't betray her trust again. Otherwise, instead of meeting Sam here where she is, I can always meet with you and AJ and little Cass there, maybe out back by the dock. Goodness sake. It's like, so Sam gets the call from Sarah and tells her to pack an overnight bag for the boys and take them somewhere safe. So Carly wants to meet Sam alone on the rooftop of the North Plaza, and Bucky's I'm coming with you. And Sam dresses as Falcon. And Carly's like, oh, you know I'd never hurt Sarah. Well, you already have. You threatened her and her kids, so you've already hurt her. So, and she's asking Sam to join her, or do the world a favour and let her go. And Sharon, meanwhile, is tracking John Walker and New Cap, and New Cap's moving, and he's found Falcon and Bucky and Carly, and he's found the Flag Smasher's location. So Falcon and Bucky go to location, and JW Cap is storming the camp, and he's got guns, and he's took Lamar with him. So Lamar Haskins goes up the stairs to go investigate. So then Cap shouts for him, and then he doesn't respond, and he finds Haskins' gun on the floor, and Lamar Haskins has been captured and tied up, and then there's the big fight, and he throws his shield into the wall, gets it out, and he gets pounced on by another super soldier, and Bucky's running there, and Falcon arrives, and JW Cap has taken the super soldier serum that he stole, and Lamar is tied up in the bathroom. There's a big fight with the Flag Smasher super soldiers, and Carly goes to stab JW Cap, and Hoskins is thrown against a pillar and killed, and then the Flag Smashers run away, and JW Cap jumps through the window, and he got superhero landing top of a van, and he kills one of the Flag Smashers with the shield, and he's killing the one who worshipped Steve Rogers, Captain America, and thought he was the best ever, and he's killed by Captain America, and everyone's filming it on their cell phones, and then Falcon and Bucky arrive, and everyone is looking at Cap with the blood on his shield. Selfish twat. He had all the super soldier serum, didn't even give any to his so-called friend Lamar Haskins, because apparently he's Cap. He is just his sidekick, and that's why Bucky said about Sam, he's not my partner, like, because he's not his partner, he's not like a hero sidekick, they're equals. That's what that is. It's so, this episode made me angry, and also I enjoyed Simo, and I thought it's very interesting, and it's very interesting. I don't know how else to say my words, because my words are difficult today, but yeah, the final scene sums up America for me, that JW is representing America when he does that, because so it's heartbreaking that the guy who thought Captain America was the best thing he had, who was a big fan of him, he gets killed by Captain America. So since the episode aired, there's been a mid-season sneak peek by Marvel, but I haven't seen that. I don't want to watch any more sneak peeks or trailers or anything. I just go into the episodes fresh and want to be surprised by what I see. So I'm very interested to see what Simo is up to and what happens with him, and see how things resolve with Wakanda. So it's a very interesting show, and I love watching it, and I love it's an awesome show. So I hope you have enjoyed this video. My notes, photos of my notes that I made will be coming up next. So I hope you have enjoyed this video, and thank you for watching. Yay!